I'm Bob Artner for Tech Republic. Given today's events, I think everyone can agree that we need to find ways to make government identification forms, such as driver's license, Social Security, and other ID, more secure. But how do we do that? Well, there's a struggle right now between two competing different technologies, and we're going to talk about them. RFID, radio frequency identification, or smart cards. What are the differences between these two different technologies, and what are the concerns that civil libertarians have about each of them? Let's start with RFID. RFID functions more or less as a miniature radio transceiver. It basically is a chip that's embedded into a document, a card, a piece of clothing, a merchandise tag, which enables you to broadcast information over distance, anywhere usually from 10 to 300 feet. Now a smart card, on the other hand, doesn't really have a distance component. You need to be right there. You need to be present. You need to actually take that smart card and plug it into the device. So that's one difference between the two technologies. What's another difference? Well, this has authentication, but it's authentication, I would say, light. In other words, what RFID chips are good at is saying, here's what I am, or here's who I am, and allowing an RFID reader anywhere from 10 to 300 feet away to say, oh, that is who this person says they are, or what this thing says it is. But there really isn't good encryption that enables the RFID reader to have a real sense of security that that is in fact who they say they are. On the other hand, a smart card has much more elaborate encryption built into it. So it's much easier for a smart card and a smart card reader to have a high sense of security that the person who's using this card is in fact who they say they are. RFID, another difference between them, it has a data component, but again, I'd say it's data light. Most RFID chips, and there are of course different standards, but most of them have no more than 2 kilobytes of data that can be stored in them or broadcast. Now on the other hand, smart cards are data rich. There are different formats, but all of them enable the credit card, the smart card, or the credit card that has a smart card to store much more information than you can have on the typical RFID chip. So you can see there are big differences between these two formats. And what are the civil libertarian concerns? Well, big one is around this question of distance and broadcasting. There's concerns about tracking. Can an unscrupulous person or an unscrupulous organization track individuals based on the RFID chips embedded in their government identification forms? That could be a real problem. For security purposes, that might be good in a high-risk installation, say a military base or a hospital. But do we really want the government or anyone else to be able to track us wherever we go? That's the theoretical danger with RFID chips embedded in our government ID. Here's another concern, this authentication light. If there isn't strong enough encryption in here, could people counterfeit RFID chips and basically say, I am Bob Artner, when in fact I'm not Bob Artner, and this person could be going other places and doing other things, and the government thinks for whatever reason it's me, when it's someone who's just got a copy of something that says they're me. So those are the two real concerns that civil libertarians have about particularly RFID. So if I was a betting person, I'd say that the future for government ID looks more like smart cards, looks more like what the Department of Defense is doing with their Common Access Card, which they're implementing this year and which is going to require all Department of Defense employees to actually plug a smart card into a computer before they're able to access Department of Defense information.